Hi guys, it's Desiree. Welcome back to my channel. So in today's video, we are going to be talking about some summer book recommendations.
It was late at night. You tossed and turned as thoughts began.
It's been so long since I've sat down and filmed a video, and I've been thinking about this kind of book idea for a couple weeks now because I've been wanting to reread some of my books that I read last summer. If you're like me and you live in a place where you have a really short summer and really long winters, this I feel like is the perfect video for you. I personally like to read a lot more summer books in the winter because my winters are so long. I just really like to get that like summer vibe, summer feel. So that's more when I read more summer books compared to in the actual summer. So I have a couple physical books here with me. I have a couple Kindle books, and then I'm just gonna go through my story graph and like shout out some ones that I've read in the past and some that I'm currently reading. So we'll start with my physical books because they're all right here. I want to start with, I don't have the actual physical book like with me right now. I don't know where in my room it is, but the two books that sparked this video is Carrie Soto is Back by Taylor Jenkins Reid and Malibu Rising by Taylor Jenkins Reid. If you want to get the full like trifecta, I suggest you doing Daisy Jones and the Six, and then from Daisy Jones and the Six you go into Malibu Rising, and then from Malibu Rising you go into Carrie Soto is Back. If you want the full trifecta, I feel like all these books in their own ways are perfect for the summer, so I'll try to give you a little synopsis of each book. This is Daisy Jones and the Six. This book is made up, I feel like everybody's heard of this song. I feel like everybody's heard of this book by now because it was turned into a TV show on Amazon Prime and it blew up. But the book obviously is where it all started. I feel like if you want more of like that angst and all that heart-wrenching that you got throughout the series, I highly recommend picking up the book because it goes into it a lot more. This was a very beautiful book. I had my cousin was borrowing this. This is my all-time favorite book, the first book I've ever like read that got me into reading, and my first ever 5 stars, so this is near and dear to my heart. But it follows Daisy Jones, who is a girl from LA. This all takes place in the late 60s. She meets this band called The Six and they decide to come together and record an album. Her and the lead singer Billy end up falling for each other, but Billy has a wife, Camilla has a wife, Camilla, and you get to know everybody in the band. You get to know Daisy. You see how Daisy and Billy bond, but you also see the dynamic between Camilla and Billy. And honestly, the relationship that Camilla and Daisy form, it's just beautiful. So that's this book. In this book, there's a lot of people mentioned. Oh, also, another book I forgot to mention in this kind of interconnected world is The Seven Husbands of Evelyn Hugo. So if you really want to get into it, you could read this one, Evelyn Hugo, then read Malibu Rising, then Carrie Soto. But in this book, we meet a lot of people in this world. There's somebody named, this is Mick Rivera. I think his full name's like Michael or something like that. But anyways, you meet somebody in here named Mick, and he briefly talks about how he married somebody, Evelyn Hugo, who ended up having a female lover, which that goes into The Seven Husbands of Evelyn Hugo if you want to read that. In The Seven Husbands of Evelyn Hugo, you again see Mick, and you kind of get like the little time of marriage that they were together. And the next book is Malibu Rising. Now, Malibu Rising follows Mick's children. He does have children. He is a deadbeat dad, though. But this follows his, I want to say 4 kids. There's Nina, Jay, Hud, they call him. I want to say Hudson. And then there is their youngest sister. I think her name is Kit. Yeah. So it's 4 siblings. And we get to go back into Mick's life. We see how he first became a singer. We see how he met his wife. And they have their 4 kids. When he leaves, how it affects them. This is all in the point of view of Nina because she is like the caretaker for all the siblings. So the reason why I think Malibu Rising is like the best summer book because they live in a summer town. One of the biggest things is they have a family business, which is a fish shop, and they talk about being by the beach and running this shop. The book takes place, they have this really big party. Actually, the party gets mentioned in Daisy Jones and the Six. A huge party, and that's what the book follows, the entire day leading up to that party. But the way that she wrote it was so beautifully, because she did it timestamps throughout the day, but you also go through flashbacks and learn about all the siblings. It was just fantastically written, and it takes place in the summer, which in that book you meet somebody named Carrie Soto. I'm not going to tell you how you meet Carrie Soto because it'll spoil, but then that goes into Carrie Soto is back. So if you want to think of Carrie Soto as like Serena Williams, that's essentially who Carrie Soto is. Let me go on this side. She is like a world-renowned tennis player, and she's retired. She like won her title. She's retired. This girl comes and breaks her title, and Carrie Soto is like, I don't like that, I'm coming back. So she comes out of retirement. Her dad, who was her trainer, trains her again, and they work to get her last title back and another one, so that really nobody can show her out. This was so beautifully done. I've started reading about this way before like Challengers came out, and when I saw Challengers, legitimately I turned to my cousin and I was like, you need to buy this book. If you love Challengers, you will love this book. It gives you the tennis feel, the tennis vibes. The story in this is just beautiful. The father-daughter relationship is so complex, and it's just an amazing book. I do wish I had the paperback, but when I went to buy this, only the hardcovers they had. I feel like it's not a summer recommendation book if I don't recommend this, or if at least one person hasn't recommended this, but I'm sure everybody's read it at some point. That is the Summer I Turned Pretty series. I'm going to be completely honest with you. The first book, in my opinion, is the only one that is the best for coming back to. It start and finished so beautifully. Even the epilogue was like a beautiful addition. Honestly, if you just only read this book, you could leave the story at that. But if you wanted to see more of the drama, there is 2 more books in the series. So I feel like, again, this is another TV show actually on Amazon Prime. So yeah, but if you don't know, this follows Belly is her nickname, and it's the summer she's turned pretty. Her mom and her mom's best friend and her kids, they all go to the summer house every summer, and they're back. It's the summertime. She's had a glow up throughout the year, so this is her first time seeing her family friends. Since then, she's had a crush on 2 brothers. There's Jeremiah and there's Conrad. She's had a crush on Conrad for years, and Jeremiah is her best friend. And because this is the summer she turned pretty, she's kind of getting noticed a little bit more by Jeremiah and a little bit by Conrad and drama. So if you want to read a good book, this one, I do kind of want to reread this first book because it was just done so beautifully. The next book that I have here, Cleat Cute. This book is so freaking cute. It is a sports romance, but it's a sports romance about soccer or football, depending on where you live. I'm going to call it soccer because of where I live. But yes, it follows Grace Henderson and Phoebe Matthews. Grace is like this veteran on the U.S. women's national team, and Phoebe is this rookie that comes and kind of like is not fighting Grace for her spot, but they play the same position, so it's kind of a bit of a threat. And throughout their time together, they fall for each other, because not only do they play with each other on the national team, they play with each other on their club teams. This is so beautiful. It is getting turned into, I want to say, a movie. I do know that Megan Rapinoe and Sue Bird, their production company, picked this up, and they're working on making some form of physical digital content with it. I think it's going to be beautiful. This book, when I read it, I think I gave it like 3 or 4 stars, but I still do think this book is really cute. I love a good sapphic book, and I love a good sports sapphic book, so this was definitely up there. It definitely will give you the summer feel because it's soccer season and they're training and they're talking about the Olympics, which actually the Olympics are currently going on. now because it's August 2nd. So, really good time to read this. Alright, now these next two books I haven't read personally, but I do know that they come highly recommended for the summertime. So if you do want to give these a shot, go ahead. But I have Every Summer After by Carly Fortune. This is like a small town romance. Let's see. So from what I can remember, it follows Sam and Persephone? And they've been best friends. Something happens. They stop talking. Years go by. Sam's mother passes away, so Persephone comes back into town for the wedding, and they kind of figure out what was wrong with their past and kind of hash it out. So that's what this one's about. And I feel like it's not a summer without a little bit of Ellen Hildebrand. This is 28 Summers. I have not read this. What I do know about Ellen Hildebrand is she has this whole Nantucket series. I want to say this book might be in that Nantucket series. But this one follows Mallory Blessing and Jake McLeod. Mallory and Jake used to be best friends growing up, and it's kind of a secret relationship that they were friends. Like, nobody knew that they were friends. Mallory gets sick and her son gets in contact with Jake, and I think they have like one last summer together before something happens. And within this, you kind of get flashbacks from their previous summers, the 28 summers that they spent together. So, yes. And the last physical book, oh no, that's not the last physical book. People We Meet on Vacation by Emily Henry. I started this book like very loosely, like literally page 7, because she's thick. So I do know that this one is like friends to lovers. It follows Poppy and Alex. They're like the best of friends. They go on a summer break together, and it says Poppy has everything she should want, but she's stuck in a rut when someone asks when she was last truly happy. She knows without a doubt that it was that ill-fated final trip with Alex. And so she decides to convince her best friend to take one more vacation together, lay everything on the table, make it all right. And miraculously, he agrees. So I know that they start out best friends, something happens, then they decide to take one last trip together and kind of hash out their drama. I do believe that the audiobook is on Spotify, so I think I'm going to eventually just listen to the audiobook and get through it. I haven't read an Emily Henry book, and this one comes very highly recommended, so I definitely want to do this. So this next book is a book in a series. This is my version of Chestnut Springs. Sidetrack. Chestnut Springs is a really good book for the summer. I feel like if you want something to read, I think there's a couple books that kind of take place during the winter time, but cowboys, I don't know. When I think of cowboys, I think of summer. I think of Montana. I think of heat. I think of summertime. So if you want that, there you go. There's that. But I personally didn't get through the Chestnut Springs series. It wasn't for me, but I call this my version of the Chestnut Springs, although it's not at all. But this is the first book in the series, Delilah Green Doesn't Care by Ashley Herring Blake. There is 3 books in this series. There is Delilah Green Doesn't Care, there's Astrid Parker Doesn't Fail, and then there is Iris Kelly Doesn't Date. This is my trifecta. This is my Chestnut Springs. All sapphic romances, all beautiful stories. This one follows Delilah and follows Claire. Delilah and Claire. Delilah is Claire's best friend, Astrid's stepsister. Astrid gets the second book. And Delilah is back in town to shoot Astrid's wedding. It's the last time she's going to be in town. Last time she ever has to deal with her sister, her family, and that's it. When she's there, her and Claire end up having a night together and kind of form a relationship. And it gets complicated because Astrid's her best friend. They don't get along together. And a lot of angst. This book was done so beautifully. It talks about grief. It talks about parental death. It talks about the complex relationship between sisters, and then it also shows their beautiful love. Claire is a single mother, so you kind of get a kid in here, and if you're not that big on kids, her daughter is freaking awesome, so like it's not anything crazy. And it's really cool getting to see Delilah connect with her daughter, because her and her daughter are going through a little bit of a rough patch. So, very beautiful. The second book in the series is Iris Kelly Doesn't Date. Something really big happens in this book that trickles over into that book. You don't have to read all these books in line. It just would be nice to kind of get engulfed in the entire friend group. You get the dynamic, and it's pretty cool. But Astrid is a interior designer, and she gets this opportunity to film this renovation in the town. It's like one of the biggest houses in the town, and this think HGTV comes, and she is pretty much going to film this entire renovation. The lead carpenter is the granddaughter of this house, and her and Astrid are just constantly bickering because they have two total different views for how this house should be renovated. And throughout that, they form a little relationship. Iris Kelly Doesn't Date is about Iris Kelly, the last friend in that friend group, and something really big happens, and she just has sworn away dating for the rest of her life. She meets her love interest, who I can't remember right now, and her love interest is just got out of one of the only relationships she's ever been in her life, and she meets Iris. Iris agrees to help her to get people and get out of her shell and experience things, and she agrees to fake date Iris to get her family off her back. It is beautiful. These books do have spice in them, but that Iris Kelly, when I tell you I had to shut the book because I was in public and I felt like somebody was reading it over my shoulder, yeah. Okay, so some other books that I don't physically have with me right now. Just for the Summer by Ivy Jimenez. This is a book that I DNF'd, but it was a good book up to the point where I just kind of started to get bored. But this is just like the title says, Just for the Summer. It is beautiful. It follows Justin and Emma. Emma is a traveling nurse, and she meets Justin because he posts this Reddit thread about how every person he manages to date ends up finding their love of the love of their life right after they break up. And Emma replies to it, and she's like, oh my god, that's so funny. That happens to me too. Everybody I date ends up finding their forever partner after dating me. They go back and forth. They agree to fake date each other to kind of cancel out this curse and end up falling for each other. But it gets complicated because in their own personal lives, they have things going on. Emma is a traveling nurse. She kind of has some parental issues. And Justin is dealing with taking care of all his siblings and dealing with that. Very beautiful. Another book I'm currently reading actually right now, and it took me a minute to get into it, but I've been loving it. It is The Summer of Broken Rules. This book is currently on Kindle Unlimited if you want to read it. It's by K.L. Walther. I don't know. I'm sorry. Sorry for butchering the name. This book is beautiful. It is... Okay, so essentially this follows Meredith. Her cousin, Sarah, is getting married, and so everybody, her entire family, is going to their summer home. I just want to say, the way that this author described the summer home is so beautiful. It's like they have their own, plot of land, and each family kind of has, their own house. And because it's this wedding, they have their entire family's there, plus Sarah's fiance and his groomsmen and his family. So there's a whole bunch of new people we're meeting. And it is so beautiful because, they all have, their houses. So, Meredith will talk about the house that she's staying in, and she's like, but my Aunt Julie is, right over here, and my other aunt is over here, and my uncle is over here, and this person's over here, and this person's over here, and it's, this little village. It is so freaking cute. But something has happened. Actually, I think it is... Yeah, so this is the first summer that Meredith and her parents are going back to their summer home since Meredith's older sister, Claire, passed away. They didn't go the year after she passed, so there's been a whole year that they've been gone, and obviously their families continue to go, but this is her first time being back with the wedding. she ends up befriending Sarah's fiance's stepbrother. So every year her family does the game of assassin, and her sister's always taking it like super serious, and Meredith like never really cared. But because it's the first year that Claire's not there, Meredith decides, I'm going to win this for her. In comes Wit, is his nickname. He decides to team up with Meredith, and they kind of form a secret alliance and to help each other out with, because he doesn't know anybody in Meredith's family and she doesn't know anybody in his family, they decide to help each other out and win this game of assassin. So it's been really good so far. I want to say I'm about maybe 40-50% into the book. It is fantastic. It was a slow start for me, but now it's starting to pick up and I'm really, really loving it. So fantastic. That is it, guys. That is all I have. Those are all the books that I could think of right now. I feel like that's a pretty good list of books to check out if you haven't already. If you guys want me to do a fall version of this, let me know, because I think I have a good couple like books and series that I can think of for the fall. Also, if you guys have any video suggestions, please comment them down below. I am struggling out here. I am in the process of filming 2 reading vlogs, but I've been filming them for like months, and there's another one that I kind of want to start. I'm not gonna lie to you guys, I think I'm gonna start it after this, but it's gonna be a minute before that comes out. So if you guys have any suggestions for videos, please leave it down below. I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I will see you in the next one.